Hello, today we're in the studio and we're going to be breaking down the song The Reformed Deceiver from the album Latchford. So what we're going to kind of do today is kind of break down into a bit of the arrangement of the song, kind of like what happens in the studio, how we put it all together, how I write the arrangement, why I use the instruments I do, and kind of how I use them. So with this song, it's definitely a bit of a Motown feel. And I've always kind of liked the use of Motown, how they use the strings and they bring it out. It gives this very light, kind of like very energetic feel when you can combine horns and strings together. So with this one, I think what we'll do actually is let's start with the bass line. So, and as with especially a lot of Motown stuff, the bass line is very important. Sometimes it's not in the forefront, but a lot of the times it can really drive the song. So maybe we can just start by isolating a bit of the bass part. It's testing Wayne. So when I was writing this song, it all started with this. Sometimes it starts with just a guitar riff or a piano riff. I'm at the piano, but sometimes it starts with the bass, and everything has to kind of build around the bass. So it's a very kind of, musical kind of thing. So if we can start it again from the beginning of the song, and then we'll just kind of add the other parts in. So here we go. So if we add in the drums, just to kind of mix with it. So you can see how now they're kind of contrasting, and then with the guitar as well. All right, so you can see how everything starts to center and kind of build around the bass line. So what we're listening for, what the drummer's listening for, the guitar player, the piano player, what we're all listening for is kind of the strong beats and where he's emphasizing certain notes, and we're making sure we're emphasizing our parts, whether it's rhythmically or it's those specific notes, like in general, to kind of give that really tight sound. So again, it's something that you wouldn't necessarily be listening for, maybe unless you were a bass player, but I mean, the key is always to just hear the song as a whole. But this song in particular started with that bass line, and everything kind of grew out after that. So I think the next thing we'll do is we'll kind of take it back to the beginning, and we'll kind of, again, go through the contrast between the strings and the horn parts as we're kind of going through. So I think what we'll do is we'll isolate both those parts. So in this case, we're using two trumpets, a trombone, tenor saxophone, and a baritone saxophone. And we're using two violins, a viola, and two cellos, combining kind of this all together. So I guess it makes 10 instruments, I believe. So even outside of the rhythm section, just for this part, we're using 10 different instruments, spreading a wide range, covering a lot. If you're looking at a piano, you're covering a lot of the piano in their frequencies to make sure they're staying out of the way and giving this nice, bright, open sound. So yes, let's kind of just give it a try, isolating those parts. So you can see how they're calling, responding. The strings can kind of lead, and then the strings come in. And as they trail out, the horns come in until the end where they all come together right here. There we go. And what I like to do sometimes with this too, a lot of these, they're all playing the same notes, just in different octaves, which means they're all playing, when they're reading the music, it's the same note, just in a higher version of it or lower version of it. And then what I like to do is have that, and then when we come at the end, it's all harmonized. So there's different notes that kind of make up the chord structure, and that just kind of really opens up the sound. So maybe we can just hear the last half of that, just so you can hear it again. So again, all just unison octaves, same notes, and then so you can see. So when we harmonize it, it kind of makes this bigger sound, and again, it kind of really emphasizes the bigger push going into the next section. So again, it's just an idea to make the sound bigger, make it kind of different, and emphasize that we want it to go big. So as the higher instruments go higher, the lower instruments go lower, it really broadens out the sound. It makes it even though it's already 10 instruments playing it, it gives it that much of a bigger sound while keeping it open so it doesn't get really muddy in the middle for the rhythm section as we're going through. So I think the next section we'll work through is where we have this slightly different part. So a lot of times you have to be careful in terms of how much you write in these parts. So right up to this point, we've had a lot of call and response. So if the horns are playing, the strings wait, and then when they stop, the strings come in, they go back and forth. This part, to even build it up even more, because it's already a pretty high intensity song, I wanted to still keep the strings in while the horns were playing. So what I found was a key thing for them not to get in the way was to kind of just stay very simple and very on the beat. So they're kind of matching, it would be quarter notes, which is kind of matching more what the rhythm section's doing. So they stay out of the way of the melody line that the horns are playing. So so we'll give that a try again, just with the strings and just the horns, to kind of hear how they, even though they're both playing something different, they kind of line up together. So they're kind of playing the chords like a piano would, or a guitar. So they kind of become almost just like the rhythm instrument, like a guitar or a piano, and just kind of help enhance that line without kind of getting in the way. I think one of the last things I guess we can look at is just the use of the solo, where there's a harmonica in there. And again, kind of a throwback to Motown and Stevie Wonder. Sometimes there's just you know, you can have saxophone solos, piano solos, guitar solos, and for some reason this song I just heard it as a harmonica solo. So just kind of put something together, and just wanted to use something that was kind of like very you know, in the style of Stevie Wonder, not nearly as good as he plays, but something that kind of just mirrored the melody. And I think it was just the feel of the song that I thought that would be you know, a good fit. And we just put like a nice amount of reverb on it to kind of fill it out. So yeah, maybe we'll just listen to it in its entirety, I guess, with all the instruments, just to kind of play through it. So just really simple, which is good for me, and just kind of playing off the melody, like what I'm singing, you know, with some slight variations to it. And again, you can pick out now that bass as well, still really driving it. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's neat sometimes to always just have different instruments. It helps with the overall, I think, flow of the album as well. So you're hearing like just different sounds coming through, and like I said, just kind of building out different textures. So yeah, so that's kind of a quick look of some of the parts of the Reformed Deceiver. So again, now if you're listening to the song kind of its entirety with all the parts, you have a kind of an idea of you know, how it starts and how each part kind of contributes to the overall sound. So yeah, there we go. So hope you enjoy.